One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody, on a Monday evening. Hopefully, I'm not blocking your Monday night football. I'll get you out of here soon enough if you have a late dinner, early dinner, whatever. But I'm glad you guys were able to tune in. Sorry I couldn't do an afternoon show. Was taking care of some real estate stuff as things are beginning to boom down here. And so I'm not going to get into that tonight in terms of that part of what I wanted to talk about, because that's coming. I'm going to tell you what we're doing down here, and then I'll just leave that for another show. Excuse me. But I have to ask you, have you seen the movie Wall Street with Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen way back? I don't know, maybe early 90s. I'm not sure when it was. And he used the term greed is good. And I'm pretty sure, as I can see by the polling here, I put up a poll saying, were you taught that greed is good or bad? And people, 83% of you thus far, said you've been taught that greed is bad. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight, and I'm here to show you tonight, that greed, not only is it not bad, but is encouraged right now, especially what's going on with our country. Tomorrow, they're about to elect a communist mayor in the biggest city in the country. Right now, the Democrats, even though they can't control everything, seem to be having more power at this point than Mike Johnson and John Thune, in regards to wanting to rip the Band-Aid off and go with the full-on, blow it out of here, kill the filibuster. Republicans don't want to do that. They're afraid. And so tonight, I'm sounding the alarm. I am telling you, if there was ever a time that you would become greedy-ish, selfish, now would be that time. But not in the way that people have historically called you selfish or greedy. That's different. I'm gonna explain the difference. But before I explain the difference, I want to show you how you've been misinformed your entire life about greed. So let me endeavor to prove this to you for a second. I went to Merriam-Webster, as I often do, and I decided I wanted to see what the term greed and how it was defined, so I would be able to talk to you about it. So I looked up greed, and I want to read you verbatim the definition of greed. Let me just move this up a little bit so you can see it. Is it right there? Yeah, it's right. Hold on. I got to make it bigger so you can see it. Greed, as defined by Merriam-Webster, is a selfish... Hold on. I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see. Why is it not... okay, I'm going to have to zoom out here. Hold on. All right, there we go. Let me re-say that. I went to Merriam-Webster and I got the actual definition of greed. And I want to share it with you. And I want you to look at this and really look at the words of what you've been taught your entire life, what greed really meant and what it really does mean. The definition of greed is, quote, a selfish and excessive desire for more of something, such as money, than is actually needed. So as I'm reading this, I want you to read it. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. How do you define excessive? And how do you define more than what is needed? And when you can look at that as it's written right there, you will now, light bulbs should be going off in your head. It's a made-up definition. There's no way anybody can look at that and define exactly what that just said. Excessive desire for more of something, such as money. What if you want to score more touchdowns? What if you want to hit more home runs? What if you want to win more championships? What if you want to score more goals? It's an excessive desire for more of something. Is it bad to hit more home runs? Is it bad to hit more, to score more touchdowns, to catch more passes, to get more sacks, to get more strikeouts? Is that bad because I have an excessive desire to succeed? Notice they didn't put that there. They just tried to blanket it for everybody, and they taught this in schools and then said greed is bad. Well, in the immortal words of Gordon Gekko from the movie Wall Street, greed is good. You can't survive without greed. You can't aspire without greed. And the reason you can't do that is because other people can't define those two words. What excessive might mean to you might be just ordinary to me. What might be ordinary to me might be excessive to Robin. And then the other word, needed. How are you going to have a definition on what somebody else may need? Oh, you don't need that. What do you mean I don't need that? You don't need to buy that house over there. Why not? Why can you tell me I don't need it? How are you going to tell that basketball player he doesn't need to score more points? Or the football player? Anybody. The business person. You don't need to be successful. You don't need it. So now I'm going to twist it around on you with everything that's about to happen tomorrow. Do people need food stamps? Is it an excessive desire to want more food stamps? Is it an excessive desire to take more of your money? You don't need what you're making. I am from the government. I am a communist. I think I should have more of what you've made. You don't need it. Now, hopefully right now I've caused you quite the enigma, and you're spinning and you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, Yeah, it goes the other way too. Someone else is defining what someone else should have, and they're saying you have too much of it, so you have to pay your fair share. Anybody? Anywhere? Ever define fair share? Anyone? Anywhere? Define need? Anyone? Anywhere? Have the ability to determine what you will find excessive? No. Greed is not bad. It is a social construct meant to make you feel bad. Make you, I would dare say, give up. I don't need that. I can settle. Oh, I'd like to have another ring. Oh, that's excessive. By whose definition? You see, when the welfare EBT queens are filling up their carts and they're running through the grocery store grabbing everything that you're paying for, do they need that? I mean, we watch Survivor. Survivor's a great show. Kind of got wokey too. But those people go out there for 39 or 40 days and they survive on rice and mangoes and fish and whatever else. They may want more fish, but do they need more? They may want a tarp, but do they need one? And right now, that whole definition that has binded you for decades, probably some of you, you need to sit back and go, wait a second. Yeah, how can I tell you what you need? None of us knows what this other person wants to do. Their aspirations. If I spend X on an investment property, do I need it? Well, if I want to spend X on another property, I may need that to convey and provide me with enough capital to move on to the next property. Do I need it? Yeah, I need it. You know why I need it? Because that's my business. My business is never defined anywhere by saying, well, that's enough. My investors, hey, you know what? You've made enough. You don't need this return. It's excessive. Why didn't you tell me that before I gave you the money, Barry? Because, now that Mondami's going to be out here, I thought we'd all just, share in the wealth. So I'm going to take yours and not pay you any, monthly payments or dividends. Because you don't need it. It's excessive. Many of you may not have ever looked at it that way. If it's excessive for us to want more, if it's excessive because you can't define my need, then how are you able to reach into our pockets and tell us what we don't need? We're going to just take that right off the top. Gone. From the time you had your first job at 16 and you opened up your check and it said FICA. And you went, who the hell is FICA? And why are they taking my money? I don't even know a guy named FICA. Oh, that you gotta give the government this money. You have to render to Caesar what's Caesar's. But what happens when Caesar keeps Caesaring? When they have greed? What happens when the government has greed, wants excessive amount of money, feels that you don't need it, and they have a insatiable need to spend more? That's supposed to be okay, according to what the Democrats say. You can't define excessiveness, and you can't define need, but we can. And so that's the most hypocritical BS gaslighting thing I have ever heard of. And I've never once backed down when anybody would call me a vulture or a wild, crazy capitalist, because to me that's a compliment. That means I'm reaching a level of success. When they hacked into my YouTube and X and Rumble account yesterday, why did you pick me? Why didn't you pick the person who had 150 followers and nobody watching? Why did you want to come after my content and ruin what I have? Oh, he's talking too much. He doesn't need to be talking. As we move forward in this show, I want those two words to remain in the forefront of your mind. Excessive desire for something, maybe money, and more than is needed. That is what the Democrats have done. They've twisted language. They've made people conform to a definition that doesn't do justice to the individual human. And you can see it in every aspect of life. You turn on the television. Why is so-and-so Tom Hanks getting $30 million a movie? It's excessive. He doesn't need it, but that's okay. He's a Democrat. Why is XYZ band making so much money? Why is Tay-Tay? Why is Taylor Swift nearly a billionaire? Oh, that's different. Don't mess with Tay-Tay. She's on our side. It's a fluid definition that you don't need to conform to. You should never conform to it. I've been telling Ashley that, hey, don't let anyone tell you, including me, which was really funny. Quick story. This afternoon, I told her about the house that we purchased and we're going to resell it. And I said, hey, when we resell it based upon profit, here's how much which we're going to slide your way. And she was quiet. And I love that she was quiet, because who the hell am I to determine how much she makes? She didn't say that, but I could sense it in her voice. It's like, yeah, so you're just going to allocate some crumbs to me. And I was waiting for her to come back, and now she's on. She's going to say, oh, yeah, so I heard what you said. And, I think you defined my need way too small. And that's the whole thing I'm trying to say to you guys is break that chain. Break it completely, because that one man that you voted for is working his butt off to allow you to enjoy prosperity. And even in our little corner of the world here, our little chat, people are uncomfortable with it because of the bondage that is put on them by other people for so long. They're not used to going for it all. What's the worst thing that could happen if you go for it? You stay the same. As long as you do what make sure you do the right thing so you're not losing. But other than that, the ability and desire to want more is what we are as humans. Nobody likes to settle. And so I'm going to take you through a little journey today, and then we're going to jump over on Rumble, and I'm going to show you as you're watching that you better today, before it's too late, become a little bit selfish and wrap your arms around greed from a different perspective. And some of you might have already said, I don't know how to do that. Everything I do is to make sure that I don't run afoul of my Christianity. The love of money. See, that's where everybody always forgets the predicate, the love of money. Nothing in the Bible says you can't have more. And then someone's going to come back and say, yeah, it's easier for a rich man or a camel to go through than a rich man. That's not what he's talking about. You can ask your pastor. It's the spirit of the person. What are you going to do with that money? How are you going to enjoy it and also enrich other people's lives? See, you thought you caught me, huh? I don't sell you guys anything. I don't sell the hats we're giving that way. We're giving away, silver. We're giving away a fishing trip. I have flown people to come down here. We've had dinner with them. It's not like I'm selling, I don't know, Christmas ornaments or anything. I don't need it. We have been extremely blessed. I can go ahead and do all this stuff on my own. I don't need you guys to go ahead and buy hats and t-shirts and hoodies. I have sponsors, and these sponsors allow me to do and live the life that I want to live. Are they selling something? Yes. I'm just letting them use my channel. But me? I'm not telling you to come buy my silver. This is mine. And it's got lots of friends. I have a bunch of hats. We're going to be doing that too. Because that's the difference. Just making money and doing like this is not spirit. It's not saying, hey, listen, you understand what you can do to help people? Now, you look at the Democrats, and what they do is they look to harm you. And some of the Republicans seem to be doing it as well, because they won't work with President Trump and erase this filibuster. It's absolutely disgusting. And we're going to get into it. So I just wanted to start there. And I also got some good tunes for you when we go over to Rumble, and we're going to have some fun tonight. Hopefully people don't get all pissed off and like they usually do. Just keep open mind, people. Open mind. That being said, Profit Center break. Did you know that the U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years old in 2014? That's not a whole lot of time on this earth. And global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before. This is due to more toxins in air, your water, your food, our soil, everything, and other external factors that are new to us and our bodies. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. I want you to see this from Brightcore. I love their products because I can feel it myself and how it's working. So that's the only reason I like to talk about it. You know, scientists discovered that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without the nasty side effects. Now you can get those same benefits in a simple capsule with Kimchi One. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, your metabolism, and skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become more susceptible to microbial threats. Kimchi One is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins, while boosting immunity and energy. Best of all, Kimchi One is 100% made in the USA, all natural, non-GMO, and supports your gut and protects your cells. And it helps you feel younger every single day. Kimchi One from Brightcore. And if you guys are interested in getting any Kimchi One, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link down in the description, or you can go to mybrightcore.com/Barry for 25% off your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my buddies at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. You can also use the QR code. All right, so before I get into some video evidence, let me see what some of you guys have been saying. Let's see. There is nothing wrong with being rich biblically. The sin is loving money more than you love God. Check out The Rich Young Ruler. Yep, exactly. Greed is the American way. There's nothing wrong with making it in life. Absolutely. Wait a minute. Somebody just said something. Biblically speaking, KRO. Jesus' ministry was supported by wealthy women through the grace of our Father. Very nice. Exactly. What else we got here? I'm going to put Rush Limbaugh on this chair. Yet love you. I love me some Rush. Absolutely love Rush. So maybe this show should have been about prosperity and not greed. I like that comment, Larry. What I'm trying to tell you is they go hand in hand. If you're not afraid of prosperity, you can't be worried about greed. They're antithesis. They can't. If you think greed is bad, you cannot go after prosperity. How will you define prosperity? Here's what I said you define, because I can't define your prosperity, nor can I define your greed. I don't know what's excessive for you, and I don't know if you want more than you need, because I don't know what your needs are. So that statement here should have been about prosperity and not greed. It is about prosperity. It 100% is about prosperity. And understand the difference between you and a Democrat. Because they're not about prosperity. Well, for themselves, but not for Americans. Nope, not at all. All right, so we're going to get into, I don't want to single somebody out like that, but we're going to get into some video here that I want you guys to see, especially after what's been happening in the last couple weeks and today with the Republicans looking weak in the knees.
President Trump has called on the Senate to end the filibuster, to use the so-called nuclear option and reopen the government with a simple majority vote. Let's break it down. The filibuster isn't in the Constitution. It was never part of the founders' design. It began in 1806 when Vice President Aaron Burr convinced the Senate to drop a rule that allowed debate to be cut off. That accident created unlimited debate, and eventually, the 60-vote rule. For more than 2 centuries, that rule restrained raw democracy. It forced compromise, protected minority voices, and slowed the passions of the majority. Because America was never built to be a democracy. It was built to be a constitutional republic with checks and balances to prevent mob rule and the concentration of power. Then came 2013. Democrat Senator Harry Reid of Nevada detonated the first nuclear option, removing the constitutional restraints that once protected balance, leaning toward pure democracy and away from the republic's design. In 2017, Mitch McConnell extended that precedent for Supreme Court nominees. And now, in 2025, Senate Republicans are resisting President Trump's call to end the filibuster so that a simple majority, 51 votes, could reopen the government. Maybe President Trump is right. Remove the filibuster. Let a simple majority vote reopen the government. Because today, the Democrats are hiding behind that very rule, the same rule they broke first, pretending it's principle when it's strategy. They could vote to reopen the government today, but they're choosing chaos, betting that Republicans will keep playing by the old rules, the statesman rules, the constitutional republic's rules. Harry Reid, the Democrat from Las Vegas, started this mess 12 years ago, and now both parties are caught in it. Because what once restrained the majority has become the weapon of the minority. My friends, we are all anonymous, and we are a constitutional republic. But when those very rules are twisted into weapons, sometimes reverting to majority rule is the only way forward. When the stakes are this high, and the lives of millions hang in the balance.
Yes, the lives of millions do hang in the balance. With where the direction the Democrats are taking things, it can't be overstated whatsoever. The Democrats depend on criminal newcomers in order for their party to survive. They cannot survive any other way. They give them your money. They give them every handout you could imagine, the welfare, the food stamps, the health care, all to keep them loyal. I should have said that differently. You are giving them the handouts. You are giving them the health care. You are giving them the welfare benefits. You're giving them the Obama phone. The government's not. You're giving them the food stamps. You are allowing the government to work against you. You realize by being a dutifully tax-paying American and just giving them everything without trying the best you can to defer or avoid as much tax payments as possible, you are enabling the Democrats. You are like someone who has an uncle or cousin who is an alcoholic and you're buying them liquor. You are the one who's giving cousin Julie, who keeps getting high, and she says, I just need a little bit of money so I can go get another fix or whatever. You give it to her. You are enabling these people. I keep seeing people here in the comments who just don't get it. I can't drag that horse to water. There is nothing wrong with a certain type of greed, because every single one of you right now, as you're thinking of everything that's happening in New York and Minneapolis and where the Democrats are going, you have to understand at some point they are going to want more and more and more. And they've trained you to be dutiful, obligatory subjects, to make sure no matter how bad it gets, just keep paying. What am I supposed to do? There's nothing I can do. I just got to keep paying. Hey, they're going to raise your taxes even more now. Just got to keep paying. But they're giving that stuff away like it's candy and magnets so that the newcomers don't leave. Right now, there are so many newcomers, criminals, that are on Medicaid, something like almost 1.5 million, draining billions from you. Billions. Wasting your money. 5.56 million more, siphoning $150 billion a year in SNAP, EBT, and all these other programs. You're paying it. Thousands upon thousands of people who are dead even are infiltrating voter rolls and casting illegal ballots in our elections that you allow because you keep paying for it. The system is rotten to the core, and it demands a total purge. And so if your mindset is, like I've seen some of the people in here, no, I'm okay, Barry, you're wrong, greed is bad. Well, guess what? Keep giving. And when they knock on the door and say, give me more, keep giving. I can't make you understand that you're being taken advantage of. I can't make you understand that the system, the way it's been built, allows the government, especially the Democrats, to get away with just saying, I need more. We need to raise the taxes. Whatever we're doing, we just want more. Just keep raising the taxes. You know why? Because you'll keep paying it. You'll keep paying it by saying, I don't really need it. Oh, it makes me not be able to do certain things, but I'm not greedy. I'll just pay this ever increasing tax bill. Yeah, you do it because you're afraid of being called greedy. You're afraid of being called selfish. You're afraid of being called racist. And I'm here to tell you is wear that shit with pride. I'm not doing it anymore. I am not going to allow these people the funding that enables them to destroy America. And I'm watching President Trump do everything he possibly can to do exactly the same. The media will come out today and say Trump caved. He's paying the SNAP benefits. No, that's not what he's doing. He just cut everybody, and everybody who's on SNAP just got cut in half. So I look at it and go, did we just get a 50% reduction? Because that's what happened. Hey, we don't have enough money. Oh, you want me to pay? Okay, here. I'm only paying half. There's nothing else. Now look at you. He just saved us 50%. I don't know what your accounting looks like, but I'm like, damn, that's a good move. There's all kinds of things happening right now that I want to show you. Where is this here? Let me bring this up. Do you think the SNAP narrative that dominated the narrative for a good week was just coincidence? SNAP has always been a Democrat money laundering operation to fund their party. Just like with the NGOs and just like with NPR and USAID, I told you this the other day. He's gone after all of their spigots and turned them off. There's nothing left. There is no more USAID. There is no more, the NGOs and NPR and PBS. And he's going one by one and turning them off. And the agonal breathing that you hear is the only thing they can do is go to judges and cry. And he knows exactly that the only way to stop this is to stop enabling them. Why do you think he wants to go to no income tax? I want you guys to think about that for a second. Why do you think he wants to go to no income tax and just have tariffs pay for everything? Because then they can't steal your money. Now, I'm going to go back to my greed analogy, is just imagine your tax bill goes down drastically. So those of you who said, I don't need it, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, greed is bad, which one of you is going to send that money back to the government? What happens if you get a refund for taxes that you paid because of tariffs and you're sitting on an extra $3,000 or $4,000? Tell me you're going to take that $3,000 or $4,000 and put it return to sender and go, no, I don't need it. I'm comfortable. I can't be that greedy. Be honest. Be honest. Guess what is being exposed? U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins joined Fox News and addressed the American people about the USDA's massive effort to combat fraud in SNAP. She said the Trump administration sent letters to all governors prohibiting newcomers from accessing the benefits, with a historic request for state data to be audited alongside who? Doge. The Doge that everybody thought had gone away. She said that only 29 states cooperated, basically the red states. She said her team in Doge found some of the most shocking fraud ever, resulting in 700,000 ineligible recipients since the president's inauguration. Hold on there. 700,000 ineligible recipients that they've caught thus far. We're only in November. 700,000. You can do the math. And then do it times 12. And then do that times years. In terms of money that they're catching these people. And they arrested 118 individuals. Some of the key findings she unveiled in the interview: SNAP spending surged nearly 40% under Biden. Birth rates didn't surge 40%. SNAP rates did. Linked to $100 billion in expenditures. Where does that money come from? You. Would you like it back? Or is it okay it's gone? You be honest with me. Thousands of ineligible newcomers used EBT cards. One individual claimed benefits in 6 states. And 5,000 of the people are dead. But they're still getting your money. Money cut off first, fraud exposed second, prosecution third, then end the entirety of the program. I don't think there will be a SNAP program in the near future. Federal taxpayers should not be subsidizing blue state governments and cities. Do you agree? Do you agree that your tax dollars should not be subsidizing all these welfare queens that are able-bodied? Again, we're not talking about people with, disabilities, infirmities. So if we're going to cut off all these food stamps and we're going to reevaluate the program, tell these people they got to get to work, then we're probably going to need less of your money. So do you want that money back? Would you accept it if a check from the government came? Oh, you shouldn't. That would be greedy. You don't need it. It's excessive. It's taken from these welfare queens. You see where I'm going here? You understand what I'm saying? It's a matter of perspective. That's the difference in all of this. It's perspective. Not some words on a paper, not something you've read, not a feeling that you have that you think I should have your feeling, or Fred should have your feeling, or John should have your feeling. Each one of you are going to have your own gas meter. and that thing is got a gas gauge that says full or empty, most people want to refill it. Some people are like, yeah, I got a quarter tank, I'm good. That's up to you. How do you put your ideology on somebody else? I don't know.
The grocery store capitalists, which have quite a powerful lobby, right? One of the grocery store bosses, he said of Gristedes, right? He said that he was going to pull out of New York City if Zoran won, right? We would say, sure, pull out, and we will take over your grocery stores, right? And we will use them for cheaper groceries, and we will take over the entire food industry.
Who's we? Who is doing your truck driving? Where are you getting the trucks from? Where are you getting the deliveries? Who's putting it out on the shelf? Who's making the food? Who's butchering the food? These people don't have a freaking clue. Hey, we'll just get away and we'll just run all the food industry. Yeah, I'm in New York and I want this moron. This is the dude that I want, him and his comrades out there on the street telling me we're going to run the grocery business. Good luck.
Because that's something that can be done if the working class is organized.
Madam Secretary, how does that happen?
It happens when you put a train wreck like Joe Biden in the White House, and it's going to be a lot of work to clean it up. But just in the last 4.5 years, we've had over 9 million people get Social Security numbers that are not U.S. citizens. So they may be people who have some sort of legal status, but a lot of them are illegals that were given a Social Security number in just the last 4.5 years that we're going to have to figure out if they should be here, if they are here legally under a program, and if they are here illegally, then they certainly shouldn't be using that Social Security number to be on our programs, and they should be removed or given the opportunity.
Trump involved in trying to whip some votes.
The amount of the theft and money laundering is incomprehensible. You can't think of it. You can't even imagine what is about to be exposed. And so right now, you should be thinking to yourself, where was the greed? Was it in government or is it in me or you? Maybe you find it greedy just to get back your own money? I don't know. But for some reason, the Republicans don't get it.
From Democrats?
Well, he was involved. Remember, before this all began, the four leaders went over to the White House. We sat across from him at the Resolute desk. Hakeem Jeffries was there, Chuck Schumer, myself, and Leader Thune in the Senate. And the president had a great dialogue. He said, give me your proposals, guys. Well, remember, they had just filed a $1.5 trillion demand for new spending, including giving $200 billion to illegal aliens to fund their health care again, to prop up NPR and PBS, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They wanted to send billions of dollars back overseas to these crazy social programs in other countries. And the president said, well, obviously that's a non-starter. Talk to me about something that's real and reasonable. And they just stuck their thumb in his eye. So the president tried. He is the great deal maker, the art of the deal. He can negotiate the end of wars around the world. But he does not have enough with these guys to overcome their fear of the Marxist in the Democrat Party. There is a massive turn to the left of that party, and that's what's motivating them.
And all we're saying.
All right, so I'm about to show you a little bit of what happened last night during the 60 Minutes interview. Those of you who watched it with me, you saw one version. And it was 28 minutes that 60 Minutes put out. But then quickly afterwards, they posted the entire hour-plus interview. And they made some noticeable cuts. You just heard Mike Johnson once again go on Fox and say, there's $1.5 trillion of your money that they want to spend to all these stupid causes. But it's not being seen or talked about in the media because nobody wants to even discuss it. How can you know that? Well, watch what they did here.
Give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is
this is what they aired.
Let's vote.
So, Hakeem,
Senate Democrats say they will vote to reopen the government if Republicans agree to extend subsidies for over 20 million Americans who use Obamacare for their health insurance.
All we're saying, give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote. And you can open, the economy could open up during our interview.
Is there something you can do, though? Is there something you can do to bring this to an end?
All I can do is give the facts. Here's what I can't do. I can't give them $1.5 trillion so that they can give welfare to people that came into our country illegally, so that prisoners and that people from mental institutions and people that are drug dealers get vast amounts of money for health care. That I can't do.
Wow. I understand, and there are some examples in this interview where they just omitted some portion of the interview. They have to edit it down for time, I get that, but in some cases, you get it. You go, okay, maybe this subject repeated themselves, or maybe it wasn't relevant to the question asked. In this case, Donald Trump is listing the reason for the shutdown. And by the way, that reflects popular opinion now, in spite of the legacy media, not because of the legacy media, where they blame the Democrats for it. But you do have people in this country who go, we've shut down the government because of Republicans, because of Donald Trump. They want to shut this down. They don't know about this at all. You wonder why you have two different Americas? Well, maybe look to legacy journalism, and you have an answer.
Exactly. We have two different Americas because there are so many sheep that are listening to the media and not even hearing the crux of the argument. I've said before, it would be so easy if Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer would stand here, and you could put John Thune and Mike Johnson right here, and one of them, get some reporter to ask questions, and just one question. That's all would be needed. It's been reported that you guys want $1.5 trillion to be given to these causes. Is that true? That's all you'd have to ask. And this entire thing would fall apart. But because the machine is working so hard against you, and I say you, because it is only going to be you that says, I don't want my money spent there. And you can't feel that someone's going to say you're greedy, you're not compassionate, you XYZ insult that make Republicans capitulate. Now we've got to fight. It's at the point now where, as I've been saying, you need to be a little bit more selfish. Hey, listen, I understand that Shaniqua's got 12 kids, but I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go into HR and I'm going to put, exempt on my tax whatever it's called, the W-4? Yeah, W-4 form. I'm not doing this anymore. I will decide what I want to give. I'm going to be the person. I am going to be internally selfish. I'm going to make sure my family is taken care of, number one. I didn't have those babies. I ain't got 7 baby mamas. I want to make sure that my children and my grandchildren come first. Some would call that selfish. Some would call that excessively greedy. I call it prudent. My 3 grandchildren come way up the ladder before Shanique was 6 kids. I don't know them. Sorry, but this is more important. Is that bad? Nope, not at all. I don't work every single day. I don't sit here and do a show that probably will last to 10 o'clock. I don't do all that for Shaniqua's kids. I do that for my wife, my daughter, and my grandkids, and my son-in-law. Is that greedy? I've seen a couple people say, Barry, greed's bad. Selfish. That's not. No, that's what you're supposed to do. That's how it was designed. You have a family. Your family, you want to be in a position where not only can you help them now, but even after you're in the dirt. I want to know that when I'm no longer up here, that those kids are taken care of. Is that selfish? Is it excessive? Is it greedy? Or is it the right thing to do? See, a lot of people were putting it in the chat. Oh, it's selfish, it's bad. Now you got to start looking at perspectives. Who's more deserving of your money? See, I wasn't talking about you personally. And I think that's where a lot of people may get, a little tight, whatever. Oh, you can't do that. That's no. I'm taking care of the family. See, I'm not selfish. It's just the opposite. I don't want to give it to them. I don't think you should have to give it to them. With one codicil. Unless you want to. Big difference. Like, oh, wait a second. Now, if it's my choice, I'll give to Samaritan's Purse. I'll give to a food bank. I would love to help as many people as I possibly can. I live that way. You go to church, you put money in the church. The Democrats want to be and demand to be your church.
We are back with some breaking news. The Trump administration has now told a federal court how the U.S. Department of Agriculture plans to partially pay for SNAP food benefits this month. The funding expired on Saturday. MSNBC's Fallon Gallagher has been following this. On Friday, we talked a lot about what was going on in Massachusetts, but this 8-page response, as I understand it from the USDA, to the Rhode Island State Council versus the Rhode Island State Council of Churches is about Rhode Island. Tell us what this says.
Yeah, Chris, so this ruling is actually more important than that Boston case that we've been talking about last week. So on Friday, you'll remember a federal judge in Rhode Island ruled that the Trump administration has to pay these SNAP benefits. Now, that judge gave the administration until today at noon to say whether they were going to pay the full benefits using the partial benefits using the contingency funds, or pay full benefits using additional funds to supplement that contingency fund. Regardless, the judge said you have to pay using those contingency funds.
She left out the big part. Let's see if she gives you the big finish here.
So we just heard now at that noon deadline from the federal government saying we are going to pay with the contingency funds to cover partial SNAP benefits beginning today. So now they'll begin that process trying to figure out how they're going to pay partially to cover SNAP for the month of November. That means that these people probably won't get their benefits today. That means that the federal government...
All right, so she left off the big part of that. The judge said, actually, he goes, I want you to pay this, use the contingency fund. You sure? You sure, Your Honor? You want us to use the contingency fund? Do you understand what the word contingency means? You get it, right? Okay. So you want us to use the contingency funds, and I rule in order that you got to go find the other money elsewhere. So she left off the second part of what Trump said. The Trump administration said, yeah, we'll go ahead and send out 50% to everybody with what we have left, but we're not going to use anything else. So what happens when your rainy day fund dries up, but then it rains the next day? There's nothing there. You see, there's no genie in the budget and just say, they're done. Checkmate. Over. First of all, Shanique was only going to get half the amount she normally gets, which we'll see how that works out. And then number two, there's nothing left in the coffer. It's done. It's finito. Don't come back looking for any more. Here. By the way, Thanksgiving's in a couple of weeks, and then comes Christmas, and there's nothing there because the Democrats won't sign the CR. What do you think is going to happen now? There's no contingency fund. There's nothing to sue for. There's nothing left. Completely done. Which, in essence, ends the SNAP program until they come back and sign a continuing resolution. But now we got another problem. The continuing resolution that they had in place was only supposed to last until November 21st. Which is, 18 days. Yeah, so they're going to have to do whatever dance they do now again in 18 days. Or face that 61-day meter that's still ticking. In any event, good luck with the 50%. That's it. Nothing left. And these Democrats are still holding out for more of your money, hoping that Zorhan the Great does so good tomorrow that people will be forced to cave.
Start the process of sending out these calculations of how much each state is going to get for these partial benefits today. And it's probably going to be a lapse of a couple of days before real people are actually getting these benefits. But this is something that the federal government was really concerned over last week. Specifically in that Boston hearing, when I was in court, they were making the case that it would be, quote, catastrophic if they had to do this because...
Okay, so it is on the record. She just said it. You really want us to do this, huh? You want us to use everything in the reserve fund. Spend it all. Okay. Do you understand, Your Honor, what you're telling us to do? You're telling us to open the spigot and run all the water out the tank. All of it. Yeah. Now what are they going to do? There's not a single thing you can sue because there's nothing there. You sued to use the contingency fund, but you can't do anything else. Every single person in the Trump administration knows it's over. Game over. Boom. You know, I looked at this and I thought this was just incredible when, you know, coupled with what you're hearing. USDA uncovers 100 billion SNAP fraud with undocumented people and deceased residents. 100 billion. So while you're over here focusing on this contingency, they're taking all this away over here. They're not going to do this 100 billion because they're ineligible, but we're not going to collect it yet. We're just going to take those off the roll because that money was already spent. So now this continuing resolution that you have to sign will be $100 billion less when and if you sign it. But it doesn't help you today.
They were concerned about how they would do the math to figure out exactly how much each state gets, where it goes. Remember, this has never been done before. SNAP benefits have never been suspended before during a shutdown, including the one during the president's first administration. So we are kind of in uncharted territory, but a judge is saying you have to start doing this. And the federal government has said we are going to comply and we will start doing these partial benefits today.
So President Trump, being the deal maker that he is, understands what's in front of the Supreme Court. I had an inkling that this was coming. I had a really stinking suspicion that the king was moving up the board and planting that chess piece. We've heard Howard Lutnick, we've heard Stephen Miller, all these people talk about tariffs. We're going to be so rich with tariffs. And then the government, or rather the Democrats, have been suing to stop the tariffs. You guys understand that, right? There is a lawsuit that even Rand Paul signed on to that says, you know, we can't tariff these other countries. Oh my God, I cannot believe he put tariffs on these other countries. Why would he do that? We need to sue. We need to take it to the Supreme Court and reverse all these tariffs. Well, now what you gonna do? Breaking. Trump has tapped into tariff revenue to keep the food assistance program alive for women's, infants, and children, WIC. Not the same as SNAP. Trump has tapped $750 million of tariff funds. The same policies Democrats promised would cause a depression are saving the same programs that they want. You can't make this up. 450 was ready on Friday on top of 300 previously. Open the government. We don't have to do this. So are you going to withdraw your lawsuit about the tariffs? Are you going to be the ones that, oh, we can't use tariffs? Oh, wait a second. You're going to feed women, infant, and children? Yeah, with my tariffs. You see, it's not bad to have greed. It's not bad to want more and be excessive. It's what you do with the money. You see, the Democrats were complaining. You can't tariff people. Oh, that's bad. Now what do you say? You see, it's all about the spirit of what you do with the money. And he's exposing the Democrats and exposing some people in this chat at this point because they don't understand the difference between the spirit of earning, the spirit of capitalism, We're not talking about the guy in Wonderful Life. Was it Mr. Potter? Mr. Potter, he was just greedy. He didn't want to help anybody. He wanted to screw George. Versus President Trump, who's like, yeah, I got this. All these other countries I've been tariffing, yeah, we got this. We don't need you. We don't need your continuing resolution. I got this. Was I tricking you when I talked about things? I wasn't tricking you. I'm trying to open your mind. It's the spirit of what you do with the money, not excessive greed, need stuff. I tried to tell you about how I feel about my family, which is probably how you feel about your family. And you have to wonder, when you tell your family, I'm good, I'm happy, I don't need anything. You're telling them that. You say, so there's nothing coming from Grandpa and Grandma, huh? No, they said they're fine. So they're not going to take advantage of all this prosperity that President Trump is talking about. Oh, why not? They're good, I guess.
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with Doge and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead.
All right, so let me stop there because there's a good comment here. And it says, does this mean the newcomers still get their food stamps? Well, what they've allowed Brooke and the president to do is find all these people who aren't supposed to be on food stamps. So no, they won't be getting their 50% because as they find them, they're taking them off the rolls. While you're worried about the court stuff and the Democrats are out there suing everybody, she's digging. And they're verifying that these people are either fraudulent, not eligible, all these different things. So now as the days go by, as they're waiting to, who's going to get 50% of their money, which, by the way, what can you imagine what's going to happen? If you opened your paycheck on the 1st or the 15th or whatever, and it was only half the money you were expecting, all hell's going to break loose. And then on top of that, if she has pulled, what'd she say, 700,000 ineligible participants, recipients, are pulled off of it, they're not getting it. Who are they? I don't know. Maybe some politicians. Definitely some newcomers. So all crap's going to hit the fan because that money that they thought they were getting, this contingency fund, there's not enough, and a lot of people have been taken off the rolls.
Still getting benefits. It is time to drastically reform this program so that we can make sure that those who are truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away, and we can serve the American taxpayer.
Do you agree with President Trump that now is the time to get rid of the Senate filibuster?
All right, so before he talks, I want to show you a comment that Maximus posted, which is exactly what I'm getting at. So let me get this straight. They don't want us to tariff any other countries. Instead, they just want to rip off Americans. Yep, that's exactly it. They just want to take from you your hard-earned money. Whether you are working now or you are retired, they want your money. Not Thailand or Malaysia or Germany's or Italy's. They want it from you. And you a greedy American who wants your money. You should let the government have it. And I'm telling you, it's time to have some intrinsic greed and some intrinsic selfishness, because the Republicans are not going to help you.
So you're saying it's gone too long with the nuclear option?
So I talked to the president multiple times over the weekend, I mentioned, and of course the filibuster came up. This is a Senate matter. It has nothing to do with the House. Everybody wants to know what my opinion is. I mean, my opinion is irrelevant. I understand desperate times call for desperate measures. I also understand that traditionally we've seen that as an important safeguard. I mean, I obviously shared my thoughts with the president on that. As much as I have wanted to blow up the filibuster sometime as a House member when we were not getting what we wanted done in our agenda, I hear my Senate Republican colleagues, some of the most conservative people in Congress, who say it's an important safeguard. It's
to hell with your safeguard. What safeguard? Mike Johnson, you people are driving me crazy. You're not understanding. There is no need for a safeguard. Right now, you've got your foot, you got your boots on the neck of the Democrat Party. You will make them completely irrelevant, and you're worried about them doing it to you. I don't know, when I got on a field, my coach never said, hey, listen, let's not score any more points because, they might score on us next year. You got to do what you got to do to end this scourge, this theft, this money laundering. Put the American people first and say, enough. I don't know how Mike Johnson could be saying this at a microphone, knowing full well what's getting ready to happen in New York City tomorrow. They're not stopping. They're not going to stop. And given the opportunity, they will do it to us, which is why right now, since you don't have any help, you might want to start being some, little bit greedy. Take care of your own. This might make you do it. Only 28%. That's, basically 3 out of 10. Only 28% of SNAP households earned any income. Any income in 2023. Before I go on, let that sink in. 70. Read it yourself. Only 28% had any income at all, which means 72% of SNAP households didn't make a dime. Only 34% of SNAP households had children. They aren't working. They aren't struggling to feed their families. They're just an urban vote bank. I'm going to let you just digest some of that. And especially the people who say it's not good to have greed, and understand what you're looking at there. 72% of the people on SNAP didn't earn a dime. Not one dime. Legally. Yet, you're worried about having some greed. You're worried about being a little bit selfish when no one else is worried about that. They're taking as much from you as they possibly can. I think you should be over it. I think you should be over it. But hey, I can't make you think a certain way, because that's absolutely crazy. Let me show you something else here. Elon Musk posted this, or retweeted it. Just so we're clear, newcomers are voting, newcomers are receiving benefits, and newcomers are changing congressional maps. And Elon, to his millions of followers, puts that out and goes, these are simple facts. And yet you've got Mike Johnson out here going, hey, we can't go there because it might get ugly for us. They've already told you they're going to do it. They've already told you, please let us get back in power. We're going to take over all the grocery stores. We're going to run everything. I can't wait any longer on Mike Johnson. I can't wait anymore on John Thune. I'm done waiting. I am done letting people who aren't going to fight for me try to pretend like they're fighting.
It prevents us. It holds us back from the Democrats' worst impulses. What would the Democrats do if they had no filibuster impediment, no speed bump at all? They've already told us. They would pack the Supreme Court. You'd go from 9 to 13 or 15 or 17 or however many liberals they could pack on the court. You would have D.C. and Puerto Rico be made into states, which would give 4 additional Democrat senators there in the count and make us a permanent minority. I guess that would be their calculation. You would see massive restriction of the Second Amendment.
Okay, so if you know all of this, and they've told you they're going to do it, what in the hell are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the roaches to invade your pantry? Or are you going to exterminate, metaphorically speaking, the Democrats? They're threatening you, and you're saying instead of defending yourself, instead of going on the offense here, we can't do it. They might get more mad. Well, how much more mad is it if I'm telling you I'm going to kick in your front door and I'm going to take your money? You don't need that television, that big 75-inch screen. You don't need that. You can go with a little one here, and you don't need that car, and you definitely don't need the car. Well, we can't have you having gas. No, that's bad. They already told you. And then on top of them telling you, we all lived through the last 4 years where they tried to do everything and anything possible to destroy this country, and even to the point of trying to kill the man who's president. And he's like, hey, you're worried about what they might do? They already showed you. So why would you be worried about what they may do if they get back in power? How about working on it to make sure they never get in power ever again?
Amendment rights, you'd see them federalize elections so they could take over and manipulate things in the red states. I mean, there's a lot of abuses that could come. And so that's the caveat. That's what they're working through. And I speak frankly and honestly with the president, and he's very passionate about this. We're all very passionate. I think what you see in this debate we're having on our own side is a reflection of the anger that we feel, the real desperation that we feel.
When I have been angry, and when I have ever felt desperation, the last thing I do is recoil. If you're angry, you don't let the person who's making you angry and poking you in the chest keep poking you. Whether you can beat them or not, you do whatever you can to subdue them, even if you take a couple hits. You don't say, I should swing back, but they might get mad. Said no man ever. And so I can't buy this dog and pony dance he's doing by saying, if they get the power, they might do this. There's no might to it. They will do everything, including trying to kill somebody. So what don't you understand?
Because we want the government to be reopened. We want to serve the American people as best we can. And any hindrance to that is something that everybody's looking at very carefully. Again, not a House issue. It's a Senate issue, and we'll see how that's resolved.
Let me show you this. I have never understood, this is Thomas Sowell. I have never understood, and I want many of you to read this and understand this. I have never understood why it is greed to want to keep the money you have earned, but it's not greed to want to take somebody else's. That's a riddle and an enigma and a mystery all wrapped up in a nice hot dog roll-up bun for you. See, I didn't mean to bait people with the whole greed argument, but go ahead and answer that one. Why is it greed for you to want to keep your money or to earn more of your money that you earn, but it's not greed for them to want to take your money? For everything from shrimp wrestling and LGBTQ books in, I don't know, Botswana, transformer surgeries. I don't know anybody who needs transformer surgeries. I don't hang out with people who need that kind of stuff, especially since they're not the ones paying for it. they've conditioned so many people on our side of the table to think it's bad to have greed, while they actually wage greed. Answer that riddle. Imagine that the game that has been played on your mind for so long that says it's greed is bad, and you don't have an answer why. And then at the same time, the people who tell you it's bad keep wanting more of it. You don't need that. No, you don't need that. What I'm going to show you next is probably the best definition I could find to close off this conversation.
How is it considered ethical for people to own so many houses? I'm just wondering how, as a Christian, this isn't seen as greed. Don't you know that buying up all these homes is what's causing the housing shortage?
You see, don't worry. You're not the only people who have been conditioned to thinking making money is bad, that greed is bad. You're not the only one. There are people questioning it all over the place. How can you do this as a Christian? What do you mean? What exactly? I don't even understand the question. But that's something that's been, obviously, many people have asked. It's being asked on a national radio show. How do you justify, Barry, buying all these houses? You don't need it. It's excessive. Really? I'll let somebody else explain it.
Let's just start with not the spiritual part, but your economic understanding. That's not what's causing the housing shortage. Investors buying up houses is not causing the housing shortage.
Can we stay on that for just a second?
Yeah.
Because that is a thing going around, that these massive hedge funds or Blackstone, like all these, they're coming in and buying up.
But they don't have a soul.
That's right. Okay, so
hedge funds don't have a soul.
Yes. So because an individual investor, right, for the average person out there who has maybe 2 or 3 rental homes, right? They're on baby steps and they're doing it. They're not causing the thing. But
Blackstone, those guys are buying up houses.
So
that's true.
Is that affecting the housing market at all? Because that is.
It probably is to some extent, but not as much as TikTok says it is.
Yeah.
So, you really don't want your economic lessons on TikTok.
Please make that a T-shirt. You don't want your economic and financial lessons being taught to you by somebody on TikTok. Great one, Dave.
To help you with that in general, but anyway,
you're on TikTok though.
I know, but that just proves that I'm lacking in judgment. But I own, I don't even know, 15, 20 houses and a bunch of commercial real estate as well. How is that not greed? Because I don't own anything. I'm a Christian. And that means God owns it, and I'm managing it for him. So I guess you're calling God greedy now.
Okay, so devil's advocate, what would you say if Greg was like, well, Dave, why do you need so many houses? Why don't you just give all that extra money away?
I'm managing money for God. That's my job.
This is the same logic of, well, is it greedy to have more in your retirement than maybe you may not need, right? Like
listen, if you got three bathrooms, you have 3 more than most people in the world. Why are you not greedy? If you have 2 cars, you have 2 cars more than most people in the world. If you make $38,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world. How are you not greedy? Because amounts don't create greed.
Boom. Boom. People focus on the amount. The amount doesn't determine greed. If you decided tomorrow, wherever you are, in whatever situation you're financially in at this point, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go drive an Uber. I'm going to make some extra money on the side driving an Uber. And then you start making money on the Uber driving, and you're making another extra 100 or 200, maybe $300 a week. And then you're like, you know what? I can add DoorDash. Oh, I might try delivering Instacart. And all of a sudden you're making an extra $400 a week. Is that greed? I mean, because it's the same thing. It's 100% the same thing. The problem is you've been taught the number is the problem. Let that sink in. Every one of you said, you know, I decided I'm going to go deliver papers tomorrow. I don't know if they still do papers. and you called your local newspaper and said, I'll drop them off. I'll fill up the boxes if they still have those things. And they say, hey, we'll give you an extra $150 a week if you go put those newspapers in a box. Did you need that money? Is it excessive? Somebody else might think it is. You took a job away from somebody who really needs it. Well, I wanted it. I wanted that extra 100, 200, 300. You're assigning a number as the definition of greed. If I buy a house and then sell a house and I make a 6-figure profit, it's the number that people have a problem with. If I bought the house and I renovate it and sell it and only make $50, nobody would have a problem, even though it's $50 more than I had. But if I make $100,000 or $200,000 on the resale, oh, that's greedy. That's greedy. You're assigning that number to greed, and that's not true. And as he said, the other part where so many Christians mess up is, I'm just managing this for God. I can't take it with me, and I definitely can't do any of it without his blessing. Every one of you who read the Bible, hopefully some of the ones that we send out, I can do all things through him. Well, if I can do all things through him, and he says, hey, Barry, here's a profit on a house, is that greed? Or am I doing it all things through God? I'm just asking you. I'm just delivering the message. If you read the different things and you pray and you sit down, I sit down with Robin and I say, honey, let's go ahead and thank God for blessing us, and he'll show us the right way. Is this the property we should buy? Here's one. Which one should we buy? God, please show me. If we're not supposed to buy either of them, please, or give me some insight as to what I should do. Okay, go with it. And please bless us on this endeavor. Thank you. And then we sell it. And we make a handsome profit. Well, that's from God. God gave me that. I didn't do it. If you believe the way I believe, you realize, like Dave said, I'm just here. I'm a vessel. I'm asking for knowledge. I'm using my knowledge. I'm building my network. Do you realize how many people actually had to call today? We started setting up what we need done. We need a landscaper. We need a painter. We need an electrician. We need this person, that person, the floor guy. Blah, 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 blah. Do you know how many people are going to get paid? Because God has blessed me? And then people are saying it's greed. So what should I do? Just say, nah, don't want it. Board up the windows. Let it go. So I hope I'm opening your eyes here to realize if you believe and you pray for something and you are blessed with something, then you're basically spitting in God's face if you're saying, I don't need it. Well, then what'd you ask for it for? Why'd you ask for it? You know, you go to church, you read the Bible, ask and it shall be given. Well, Lord, I'd like to know, should I back off a little bit from the videos and start looking at buying houses now because what's going on in New York? If that's true, show me. Open. Oh, yeah, you opened a big door here. Should I say never mind? I don't need it. I don't need your blessings, Lord. Would any of you say that? Of course not. Of course not. See, it's not about the number. It's about the spirit.
Greed is a spirit. It is not an amount. And, if you want to be a communist, just be a communist. Don't try to blame Christianity for it. Okay? If you want to be a socialist, just be a socialist. Don't try to blame Christianity for it. That's a form of heresy called Gnosticism that believes that the material is bad, and anyone that has the material, their soul is in jeopardy. The Gnostics taught that in the first century. They were heretics. So if you want to do a little theological rabbit hole, we can do that. But
I love the rabbit holes, Dave. No, that's good. I think that's it, though. Greed is not an amount. It's a spirit.
That's it.
Bingo. I saw somebody, where was it, if I can get to it in time? Oh, Jay said it. Where'd that go? Jay said, Satan can give you that too. Yeah, but then you have the discernment. You have to have the discernment to understand the difference. Because I didn't pray to Satan. I didn't ask Satan for enlightenment. But I have the discernment to know what message I'm being given. Oh, and there's one other thing about that. One other big thing is I didn't do it alone. I talked to Robin. I talked to Ashley. I talked to JJ, Pastor JJ, who happens to be Attorney JJ. But I talked to him in the form of, hey, consigliere, this is the right thing to do. And then when you surround yourself with people who believe as well, and there have been times when he has told me, don't touch it. Robin will say, don't touch it. But this one was unanimous. Let's do this. Big difference. Big difference. I'm just saying, just trying to let people know. Like Elaine says here, Barry, you're opening my eyes, and I appreciate you for enlightening all of your audiences. Thank you. Thank you. That's all it is. Giving you a different perspective, not telling you, like, look at things. You know, I surround myself with people who I can talk to. I surround myself with people I can pick up the phone and go, hey, what do you think? Should we do this? You know, the last week or so when we were getting the floors done here, and it was banging and everything, and I sent Robin over to a hotel. And I'm like, honey, you just go out of it. We'll put the dogs with the sitter, and you just go over. I'll see you at night after everything's over, and then we'll, just wait this out. I'll be here. I'll sit with the contractor. And we prayed for that. Hey, should we do this? Is this what we should do? Yep. Okay, let's do it. Now, all of a sudden, all prayers don't get answered in time that we want it to. But nonetheless, when they do get answered, you got to listen. Definitely got to listen. All right, so that went a little bit long. I still have so much, so much content to get through. Let me go to this next section so I can get through this. And I wanted to show you something else that was kind of important. Again, talking about money. I see a lot of posts referring to the top 10% of income, as opposed to the top 1% or top 5%. The Democrats are lowering that number to encapsulate more of you. The top 10% of income is an annual salary of $148,000, which is what many professionals and small business owners earn, and is far from rich. But it helps use envy to push bad policy. See, a lot of people would consider $148,000 a year rich. A lot of people are like, no, that's not rich at all. But the Democrats know that, and their evil way that they go about doing things is to simply lower, and lower the number they're going to use to try and come after you. And then when you say no, well, you're being greedy. Check this out.
Like most government programs, SNAP is susceptible to abuse, and there are several types of abuse that we've become familiar with. One is that a cashier runs a $100 EBT card transaction for food, but gives the customers $50 in cash instead of groceries. Or a recipient sells the balance to another person of their EBT card. You can also falsify your application by claiming fewer household members or less income. You can use fake pay stubs or falsify your address to meet eligibility requirements. And then there's the skimmers. Skimmers are placed on grocery checkout terminals, and it copies EBT data to be later used in making duplicate cards. So with that in mind, it's fair to ask, is SNAP serving its purpose? Are we doing enough to protect the program for the Americans who truly need it? There's an interesting trend on social media right now. It's a trend where black men are suggesting the expiration of SNAP benefits might actually be a blessing in disguise.
This program is keeping a lot of people unmarried, uneducated, don't want to, do anything that will hinder their opportunity, their chance to lose their benefits.
Only in America do we have people that have $1,200 iPhones checking to see if their SNAP benefits hit.
Talk about greed and necessity. You're picking up I use Samsung, Android, but did my Snap benefit? What are you holding in your hand? I'm holding my smartphone. Your $1,000 smartphone you're holding. Yeah, you need SNAP benefits, huh? Yeah.
Anyone who's on welfare, not for a disability, but because they can't provide for themselves, should not have the ability to vote in our society.
I don't have kids, but there's no way that I have kids and I'm waiting on somebody else to feed them.
مرحبا أنا اسمي زهران.
We'll get to this dude in a second here. A lot of black guys are now looking at this and saying, let's start putting the black family back together, which is another thing the Democrats don't want to do. So tomorrow, in a further assault on America, the Democrats are looking to elect this guy.
وعم رشح حالي ليكون العمدة الجديد في مدينة نيويورك. بعرف شو عم تفكروا، شكلي كأني سهركم من الشام، بس العربي تبعي بده شوية شغل. مع هيك أنا حابب اليوم أطلب دعمكم يوم 4 نوفمبر. العيشة بنيويورك صارت غالية للكل. ازيك يا باشا؟ كل شيء تمام؟ وصار صعب نعيش فيها ونربي أولاد. أنا كعمدة رح جمد الإيجارات لأكثر من 2,000,000 شخص وخلي الباصات سريعة ومجانا وأضمن رعاية الأطفال شاملة لكل العائلات. ويمكن ما فيني أقنع عمك إنه الكنافة النابلسية بستاينواي أطيب من نيوجيرسي، بس بوعدكم إني رح أشتغل بكل جهدي لأسهل عليكم بفتح مشاريعكم الصغيرة وتدفعوا إيجاركم.
What was that flag in the background? What? Hold on. I just happened to see that, Zorhan. Where is that? Oh, look at that. There's a flag back there. It doesn't look like the American flag, but hey, he's going to be the mayor of New York.
لأسهل عليكم بفتح مشاريعكم الصغيرة وتدفعوا إيجاركم وتبنوا مستقبلكم في مدينة نيويورك. التصويت المبكر مفتوح الآن حتى 2 نوفمبر ويوم الانتخابات يوم 4 نوفمبر. أنا منكم وإليكم. سنراكم.
That was a good one. That was a good one, yes.
سنراكم.
See, I'm still here on YouTube, so I can't say much because I don't want to get myself in trouble. Because somebody will say, well, hey, listen, imagine if somebody was, I don't know, courting the Spanish vote or something like that. Yeah, I could see that. That's New York.
Not involved in a political election. We're involved in a war. And we saw what the left was willing to do against President Trump. They tried to send him to prison for non-crimes. They tried to kick him off the ballot. And then I saw the left try to assassinate President Trump on live TV. That's what the left is willing to do to their enemies. They're playing for keeps. And I see too many people in the Republican Party, in the establishment, that they don't see this threat. Well, I saw Mamdani openly campaigning with an unindicted co-conspirator of the first World Trade Center attack. I think that's enough grounds to investigate his application to citizenship, to see if he committed fraud by saying that he was not affiliated with terrorist organizations. And then we should move to denaturalize him and to kick him out of this country. This is Western civilization that's at stake here. It's not just New York City. It's migrated to my Midwestern towns like Dearborn, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have to hold these people accountable.
Yes. Absolutely, because it's not going to stop. We can see that it's not going to stop because there's Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC and Bernie Sanders and the guy in Minneapolis. They're just getting ready. They're just starting. And then you're going to let 7, 8 million, many more million people in New York City begin to fester under this. You're not going to be able to vote your way out of communism because I'm sure they're going to look at this and have a boilerplate blueprint and say, let's take this to Tuscaloosa. Let's take this entire ideology and do our entire plan somewhere, I don't know, Boise, Idaho. Because one thing is going to happen tomorrow, I guarantee you. And you'll be able to look very clearly. And that one thing that these people have realized is you just need to mobilize a little bit or a fraction of the people. Let's see tomorrow when the votes are counted, and I bet you we'll have this one counted by 8 o'clock, won't they? 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It won't take 2 weeks to count this number. No, they'll have this real quick. But they'll probably take forever to count the one in New Jersey. I mean, who knows? But this one, they're going to have this. They already have it counted probably. But I want you to look at something tomorrow. And that is gauge the amount of votes versus the amount of residents. And see what the percentage of people who actually went out to defend their city. How much apathy, even with all this publicity, still infected New York City. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you see this happening in your city, where you live, and you don't see an 80 or 90% turnout, you got no one to blame but yourselves. No one to blame but yourselves.
New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play
than
devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, like, usher in socialism?
All right, that's a good question. And my answer to that is, if he doesn't, as it appears he doesn't, it doesn't appear that he has the ability to do some of the things that he says he's going to do, then why isn't the media calling him out on it? Why are you Democrats not saying, you can't do that, Zoran? There's no way you can raise taxes to 53%. You can't do it. You don't have the power. But none of you are telling other people that it can't happen. So you're facilitating, you're enabling misinformation because you're not telling people the truth. Most people know he can't really do what he says. He can't just take over property. He gonna try.
Definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
The Republicans are going to.
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela.
You see, part of what is happening in New York is because of idiots. Idiots who weren't taught in school. Idiots that were indoctrinated when they went to school. Idiots that bought into an ideology that can't work. Idiots who think that, these people want to give big hugs to Transformers. Oh, we want them. We want all and more people to come here. These people who don't realize they don't have wings, who've never looked at YouTube videos or understood what these people will do to you. That takes a special kind of stupid, and they count on it. Go ahead and put your funky scarves on and go to Palestine, river to the sea and stuff, and you don't realize you're some of the people that they want to eliminate. You think, well, I hope it doesn't happen, but history shows us otherwise.
Bad ideas, and again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's Bernie? Bernie is Bernie is. I mean, he's not a capitalist.
No, he's not, and he's also not president.
Bernie owns 4 houses. Bernie's making serious jack. Bernie's taking all kinds of donations from Big Pharma. Bernie's worth millions now to the point where he can no longer say millionaires and billionaires because he's a millionaire, so he's just a billionaire. Bernie is selling books, making money from stuff. What do you mean he's not a capitalist? He's not a capitalist for you. But he's definitely a capitalist for himself.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
They're going to feature people. They boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but
they make anybody into boogeyman. I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really show it.
And that's what's going to happen. They're going to be able to show it. They won't even have to worry about, the Republicans making him boogeyman. Wait until he does some of the stuff that he does. Wait till you see some of the stuff that this dude does. This dude does. All right, so I want to show you this too as well, with everything that's happening. Yep, here we go. This is the New York Post, a New York newspaper. Nearly 1 million New Yorkers are ready to flee New York City if Mamdani becomes mayor, possibly igniting the largest exodus in history. 1 million New Yorkers. Okay, so if you know the population of that city, then you're also looking at what? 10%? 10% or so of the population going, bye? We're done? My question is, what were you waiting for? Why did you let it happen? That's the question a lot of these New Yorkers and these people in New York have to be asked is, why did you let it happen? You're going to be looking at each other tomorrow and going, I didn't realize it. I didn't know this guy could win. And then he wins and you're screwed. Crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so let me go ahead and do Super Chats. I've got the banner up, so you guys that want to jump over with us to Rumble, see you guys over there in a little bit. Got some tunes for you. Hopefully you guys will be interested in hearing what I got for you. And as always, wow, still 81% of people on that poll, 81% of the people said they were taught that greed was bad. See, that's what tells you. I can't wait to see these Super Chats. I bet you some people want to rip me a new one in here. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and get this ready so I can read the Super Chats. Because SV would probably hound me and say, you forgot to read Super Chats. Okay. All right. So, Nikki, kind of like how Europeans tell Americans that we don't need AC because they don't have hot summers like we do. They can't fathom triple-digit temperatures. No, people ask me, how do you live in South Florida? I'm like, what do you mean? What exactly do you mean? It's fine. Well, it's so hot. We have this stuff called air conditioning. People down here, your air conditioners run 24/7, 365. Just has to. Lele J, thank you. Chapo, greed makes us strive to do more and progress. Otherwise, you would still be living in caves. Socialism and communism would keep us in the Stone Ages. Bingo. Peaceful Haven Media, we taught our kids there's a difference between want and need. If you want better or more, work for it. Exactly. Both are adult kids are hardworking, strong work ethic. Exactly. Ronaldo, Karl Marx, Chairman Mack, and Fidel Castro defined fair share. Yeah. Ooh. Bukowski, teaching, I live and let live. Elizabeth Rancourt, on the subject of prosperity, will you be doing a follow-up to the real estate investing segment you started a couple weeks ago? Very interested in learning. Thank you. Yes, I will. Bukowski, prosperity and greed are two different things, except one can help build the other. Bukowski, see this scenario growing up in a faraway land under socialist rules. They are reusing the same old scenario written time and time ago, and it ends in failure. Tania, Bear, I used to work for a company that cleaned celebrity homes. One of them was Tom Hanks, who seemed so nice, but I guess greedy can have a nice face. Yeah, it can definitely do that to you. James Hammond, we pay for benefits for the newcomers to the point of a gun. We pay or we're jailed and life completely ruined. Nicholas, Barry, I'm not greedy. I think I should get an $8,000 rebate for the money they have stolen. I agree. Buddy Sanders, how many farmers in New York City? I don't know. When they take over the grocery stores, I guess they're going to find out. Fikowski, me and my family come first, and the government should live in symbiosis with us, not the other way around. Well said. Mariah, speaker needs to understand the facts better. Yeah, Mike Johnson sounded real weak to me. Elizabeth Rancourt, if they do the nuclear option, the same 4 Rhino senators will vote against everything they try to put through. Margins are so thin already. Do you see that happening? I don't know. But what I do know is you don't know if you don't try. If you don't try, it's never going to happen. Brian Newland, I want my government back, and the Declaration of Independence tells me so. Absolutely. Chapo, I was taught money is a gauge for how much you contribute to society, so I focused on contributing more to society, and the money just comes naturally. Well said. Just exactly. Christina Mozart, I am so sorry, but I'm a little confused. To me, prosperity is good no matter how prosperous you become. Greed is when you will hurt anyone to get what you want, which I see is wrong. Look what you wrote there. I want you really to look, Christina, at what you wrote there. You have your own definition of greed, which is fine. If you want to live your life under that auspices where you said, if you will hurt anyone to get what you want, which I see as wrong, that is a whole different definition than Webster said. You added a clause. In that regard, based upon what you just wrote, there is no greed. If you're not hurting someone, that second sentence that you wrote goes away. Greed is when you will hurt anyone to get what you want. All right, well then, if you don't hurt anybody, go for it. You just wrote it, not me. Roxanne, former Democrat House Representative Kristen Sinema from Arizona blocked the Dems from abolishing their filibuster a few years ago. They will do it again if they have the chance. Oh, yes, for sure they will. Chapo, it's not about him. It's about the machine behind him and how they're trying to push his agenda by force because they get away with it. No pushback. I agree. Fikowski, people wake up, listen to people who are experienced. That is a good one. Learning from people who have ideas and how to make it work. All right, so I'm going to, where is it? There it is. I'm going to play the, not the theme song, but the jump over song, and then I'll see you over in Rumble in about 90 seconds.